Number 3 for me is, I forgot, what is number 3? Dawson's Rentals. Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. For today's video, we're going to be doing a top 5 video of top 5 Sentai reveals. Now, this was the video I wanted to do at the end of last year because we were getting into the time where we got the Boonboomger reveal and poster and all that type of stuff, but, you know, there was other videos I wanted to get done first, but so I thought it would be fun to do this now. And this is kind of just ranking basically like my level of excitement and enthusiasm for the various Sentai reveals over the years. As every year, you know, it kind of has that almost Christmassy present feel of getting to see the new Sentai poster, kind of an extension of what it was like when we, you know, first saw Power Rangers seasons when we were younger and stuff like that. So I was going to rank my top 5 ones that I was the most excited by. Like, in general, I think you're kind of a base level excitement, and then once you know, get used to it, it's kind of like, yeah, you're excited, but there's not always something special about it. It's just kind of that base level. But there are some that rise above the rest. So coming in at number 5, I'm actually going to say King Oger. Like, I remember saying when I first discussed the silhouette, there was just something about the silhouette that looked cool. Like, we knew the concept was going to be insect knights. Like, the idea of it excited me. The silhouettes made it look like they were going to be something I really liked. It's almost like I could sense what they were going to look like in the sense that I love what they ended up looking like. And there was just something about it. And I think too that even though I was, you know, matter-of-fact excited about Zenkaiger and Dawn Brothers, it was also this weird limbo where it was mixed up with like the confusion of their experimenting, and like after Zenkaiger there was rumors that Dawn Brothers was going to be almost the same thing but with CGI. And so it was nice to get this excitement for something that was going to be experimental because I appreciated the experimental aspect, but maybe a little bit more familiar. And so even just that pre-hype build-up was exciting. And then getting to see them, that first glorious poster, I absolutely loved the suits from the get-go. You know, I always mention they did have those later ones that were less than flattering. I think they are weird suits when you think about it, in the sense that they do kind of, in my opinion, require a very specific lighting and shooting to look cool. Otherwise, they do look a bit cheap, but I still do love the suits. But anyway, that first poster, like, that looked like Hollywood. It looked cinematic and great, and just like almost everything about it I liked. You know, even though the Bop It jokes and everything, I still like the sword changer. You know, even though also the King's weapon is kind of boring when you think about how it changes, I still liked that idea off the get-go, and I loved the look of the mecha. So yeah, that was definitely my number 5 for that. Number 4, I'm going to say Kyryuger. I remember Kyryuger just being kind of exciting. Like, there was just something about the energy and everything of the designs, you know. For a second when I was thinking about this, I'm like, I remember being like, Dinos again, but then that was Ryu Soldier, because it had been a while since Aba Ranger when we did Kyryuger. So the Dinos again was Ryu Soldier, especially since we used the same color scheme, and so many echoes of Kyryuger in that. Like, there was just something special and exciting about the way the suits popped, the way that the Zords popped. Like, there was just this energy to it. I just remember it being super exciting, and I remember being like super excited by the pink Triceratops. Like, I still latch onto that, both in terms of the mecha and the Ranger, because it was cool. Because, you know, we do have some similarities between some of the Dino Sentai, like, especially when you get to like red and blue of Aba Ranger and Geky Ranger, especially blue, there's an obvious similarity in Echo, and it was cool to get a helmet that looked different and in a different color, and there was just something different where it's like, yes, we're doing Dinos again now, but we're going to try to make it different. And I also remember that funny stuff going on with like HJU thought that there was 2 Blue Rangers or something. And also the batteries I thought was an interesting gimmick. Speaking of, I still get comments every now and then of people getting mad in my old Dino Charger reviews that I refer to them as batteries. What do you think they are, hot dogs? Number 3 is Ghostbusters. There was just something special exciting about Ghostbusters, which it's funny in context too, because I feel like a lot of people's exciting ones might be Gokaiger because like the big anniversary stuff. But I remember, like, despite the fact that I ended up loving Gokaiger, my excitement for that was pretty muted from a combination of me not being as into Sentai at that moment because of Goseiger, but also I was sick of anniversary stuff already, you know, with Rider and stuff. So, like, that kind of bypassed my initial excitement for Gokaiger. But Ghostbusters, man, I remember first seeing those images and I'm like, holy crap, this is cool as hell. Like, these slick looking suits, they weren't spandex. Truly, that is not spandex. Like, there was just something about it that looked so modern and sleek, and they just instantly clicked with me, and I just kept looking at the pictures. There was just something about the aesthetic, and not to mention it ended up being one of my favorite series after that. But like, from the get-go, I find it funny just because I feel like it's a weird inverse of like most of the fandom experience, where they're like, to this day they're still like, Gokaiger! And then people like didn't like Ghostbusters at the time because it committed the crime of not being Gokaiger. And I was like the opposite, where when Gokaiger was first revealed, I wasn't feeling it. I like making fun of the fact that you jam the Gokaiger's butts into the keyhole. That sounded, but you do. But then for Ghostbusters, I was excited. I guess that's the way a lot of things go for me in this fandom, where my tastes are almost always the opposite. So, number 2, though, is Geky Ranger. Geky Ranger was the first Sentai I got into. So I remember the first image I saw, it wasn't the traditional scans, it was this, I'll try to find the image, I think I've used it a couple times when I've talked about this experience, but obviously that one holds a special place in my heart, as it was the first time I decided to start watching Sentai live, and there was just something unique about the suits I liked, and there was something exciting about finally diving in, because I guess tying in a sort of honorable mention is, a lot of these are ones, I mean, all of these actually on this list are ones that I picked as my favorites from when I was following Sentai. So all 5 of these are Sentai reveals I was excited for when I was actually following the series, knowing I was going to watch it and stuff like that. But like I said, Geky Ranger was the first one where I was following it and like, I'm going to watch it this year. So I guess an honorable mention sort of tied to this is there was some exciting ones I remember back. I think the first time I followed the Sentai scans in terms of like seeing the new reveals was Geky Ranger. I think before that, like I kind of just vaguely knew about Sentai and stuff, and I would see like people picking up the Japanese merchandise, but I never like pre-followed it. I would find out, I think SPD was the first season I found out about before. Like, I found about Dino Thunder and Ninja Storm when they just happened for Power Rangers. But I remember seeing, like, the Geky Ranger scans on some sites, like, when Dino Thunder was happening. So I guess that's a bit of an honorable mention for, like, Sentai reveal scans that I saw before I was following the series. But Geky Ranger is special to me because it was my first Sentai and the first time I decided to start watching it. But my number 1, actually, just in terms of fondness of the excitement, was Go-Onger. Like, I like the Go-Onger suits, I really do. They're not my favorite or anything. Same thing with the Zords. They're not my favorite, but I do like them a lot. But there was something special and exciting about that first time seeing the new Sentai scans when you're on the inside of being a Sentai fan. You know, watched Geky Ranger, like I said, and so that was the first year that, like, I'd watched the full year and I knew I was going to be watching it again and kind of more closely following when the scans pop up, and there was just something really cool and exciting about when we first saw the suits, and there was something like about those suits too that were unique. You know, the color scheme, having green and black on the same team, they have this almost anime look to them. Like, I don't know, I just have this huge, probably the most nostalgia and fondness for seeing that as the first Sentai from being a Sentai fan. And also, like, I always just love that first look at the suits, whether it was Power Rangers or Sentai, where they're kind of these blank slates. They're just kind of these, kind of like that feel you get when the Gold Ranger or the Phantom Ranger was a mystery identity, where you don't know anything about them other than they just look cool, and they're kind of filled with possibility before they fill that Red Ranger suit with the worst person you know. But so they just kind of represent that. I think that they replicated to a degree that excitement I felt when I was younger of seeing the new Ranger team, and it was filled with possibility combined with my excitement of being a Sentai fan. But that is my list. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Sentai reveals over the years were. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.